let's talk about zones. Let's talk about the world within Scars of Honor. So I'm curious, like, is how many zones are there in this game? Is there going to be a lot of zones? Is there going to be like one continent, two continents? I'm just curious, like how big the world is.
At start, we definitely want to go. We want to go with more, but realistically, we can go with just one, but very big continent.
Okay,
Because on
that's
this big
fine.
continent called Irongard, you
Okay,
can you need. I I'm pretty sure just for that one zone that we are going to experience right now on the upcoming public test, it takes quite a while just to traverse from one place to the other. We had a situation where we were discussing, hey, aren't we just making this damn thing too big? So in the terms of like a pure scale, it's
yeah,
definitely vast.
okay,
We are exploring possibilities how we can go after that to incorporate new zones because we also make plans of what's next. Let's say tomorrow we release it, we need to have something on the shelf waiting and clear idea after 3 months what are the news that we are bringing so that if you have come and consumed the whole content, which I don't believe it will be possible for 3 months, but in 3 months I need to make sure that whomever checked the game and went out because of whatever reasons at least have the interest to see what's coming to
okay.
spike an interest again. So new zones definitely can be added. How many in number I cannot tell you exactly because currently team is slicing one big one at two. That one
Gotcha.
automatically becomes two because it's too big, and
Right.
number wise whatever I say right now it will be a lie. The only thing that I can guarantee it's a vast continent.
Okay. So basically you're talking about traveling and a lot of people are like, well, is traveling going to matter? I'm just curious because I know a lot of your inspiration also comes from World of Warcraft. Is there going to be like flight paths? Is there going to be like a Hearthstone mechanic? Is there going to be teleportation? Like is there going to be points on the areas that I can just, oh, I need to get to this other zone. But I've been there before. I can just zip zap over there, or like how is traversing the world going to be in Scars of Honor?
Teleports are already existing and their convenience when you're switching between. Currently, we have our development continent, like the GM Island, where we're testing spells, and when we go to Irongard, we are using the teleport. So, if we decide later down the road, because as I said, Irongard is vast, we can definitely put those in a specific spots if we decide that this is not destroying gameplay. Our main philosophy when it comes to traversal in Scars of Honor currently is to have the ground mounts, which will allow
Okay.
you to explore the beautiful and vast continent that was created from the environment team because this is a very expensive endeavor. And I hate the idea that somebody can fly on top of it and just never see what is inside because we are also planning to have a lot of hidden secrets inside the open world, a lot
Yes.
of hidden surprises inside the open world. And if you don't see those, you're missing on content that we have prepared for you.
Mhm.
A moment when we can strike your dopamine up. And in general, it's not healthy if you we design systems that will allow you to skip it. Flying paths, definitely we can achieve such thing because it's a relatively simple system. Is it implemented now in the game? No. Unfortunately, no, because this is not a priority at the moment. I said it previously, I'll say it again. We have several priorities, and number one is always combat, the way the character feels, moves, and behaves. And I am confident and I'm happy to say that when it comes to movement and character handling, um, um, let's not let's be not that cocky to say we are on par with World of Warcraft, but I am not afraid to say it in that sense because this is my
Wow.
biggest inspiration.
Yeah.
And you guys will come and see it and you will say it. Let not be me who says this. Come see it, but this is where we at least want to be
Yeah.
at a start of the game. So this is number one priority. Second is make sure that these PvE dungeons, these always shifting and changing layouts and dungeon in general systems and content are fun. They are engaging and you want to go again and again and again and do those. PvP and an arena, it's already confirmed it's fun. We tried it. We are having a blast.
I see
There
the
it's
shorts.
always smiling. Yeah, it's smiles all over the faces of
Yeah,
all who participate in it. Of course, people that love PvP, and then gathering and crafting, which we already discussed. And then the fifth one is the open world,
right.
where I said it in previous places. For me, open world is super important because it's a place where you can unwind out of all these activities. And these are the five pillars that I really want to have those five, but make them good, prove to you guys, prove to the community that we are not the biggest developer, but we are striving to provide quality over quantity. And then with time, quantity will come. But with time, quality is harder to come if we don't achieve it from the start.
That
So
is
this is my philosophy.
that is the best thing to hear from a player standpoint, because I think a lot of companies have forgotten about quality. I think quantity is on their mind most of the time. And, you know, we see it a lot. I mean, we see all these MMOs that literally live and die within a month. And you know how expensive this endeavor is. Could you imagine spending, you know, tens of millions of dollars to just throw it all away within a month's time because everybody that tries your game thinks it's trash? And yes, you have a
Yeah,
lot of stuff in it, but it's like there's nothing of polish, there's nothing of quality here. And I would rather have
yeah,
a game with very limited systems, but each system has a depth to it. Each system has a fun factor to it. I think that's the other thing about it too, that a lot of these major companies forget is like, where's the fun in this stuff? Like, I feel like it's a lot of like, not AI slop, but it feels so unrefined. It feels so unpolished. It feels just not fun. And I think indie right now has been killing it in the gaming sphere lately because they are passionate people, just like yourself. They come from individual backgrounds where they're wanting to take it upon themselves to make a game. And, you know, from what I heard, that's kind of what happened with you, right? Like you were
yep,
literally just doing it on your own, which is another
exactly.
awesome reason that, you know, I kind of fell in love with this project a little bit, because I think a lot of people don't have the experience of being a developer and knowing the pitfalls, the things that could, you know, send a team, you know, in the developing company, just like, oh man, like we thought we were going to hit this timer, but it looks like we're not going to. And it's like having that knowledge and know-how is insanely important, especially when you're the mouthpiece of the company. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I also would add something else to this. Content can never be superior to quality. Absolutely never. Because let's say tomorrow we release the game, you come and there is a little content, but that content that is there, you consume it and you say it's quality, it was qualitative, and I had fun.
Right.
This is your first takeaway from the game. Three
Exactly.
months, we are bringing a news and we are showing you the new content patch that comes. Your mind right away is, oh, another quality content that I definitely need to go and consume. And for me, it's important that people come, they take their time off, and they come back to the game. But they can only do this if I prove you that first, we have quality. We will try our best to give the best possible quality. Second, we have the right attitude towards the consumer, the player, aka the same person. Call it how you want. But this is what brings people back. If you go to one restaurant and you see a very good meal and very good like behavior from the staff, you want to go back there, right?
Absolutely.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about dungeons and raids now, because this is, as a WoW player, that's WoW's bread and butter, is the dungeons and raids. And I'm really curious, because you're talking about like, hey, our combat, our movement, we want it to be on par with WoW. Like, so what's y'all's philosophy when it comes to dungeons and raids? Because dungeons and raiding, and that's what people literally subscribe to World of Warcraft to do. I
Yeah.
mean, the raid logging is a term. You know, people literally just do the raid and log out and not come back till next week to do the raid again. So like you mentioned the procedural generation when it comes to dungeons, there's over 64,000 dungeon variations of a single dungeon, which is
Yeah.
insane. Now again, going back to classic like vanilla World of Warcraft, there was about 15 dungeons, from all the way from like Ragefire Chasm, like all the way to like Skullomance or whatever. like how many dungeons are you guys like thinking of having potentially at launch, and are all of them going to be like as in depth and procedural as this first dungeon? I know this is like with the something of the fallen. I'm so sorry, I had it remembered with the
Crypt
spider.
of the Fallen.
Yes,
Crypt of the Fallen.
yes, and that's going to be with the spider boss, correct?
Yes, yes.
Right. So can you kind of explain to me just a little bit of like, you know, how many dungeons y'all are thinking of having, and is it all going to be like these procedural dungeons?
So the plan currently is to understand how big that first dungeon needs to be.
Okay.
This is first take to see how big it needs to be. And this is the place where we also, because the first one to create is always the hardest. You know, this is
Oh,
where you
absolutely.
create the first system. This is where the team is teaching the know-how. This is where we understand what is fun and what is not. You have a lot of iterations on the first one.
Mhm.
Then, when it comes to making a second one, we have not set yet a specific date where we are initiating the development because we have not yet concluded, hey, this is the final thing that we want to do, and we will conclude this only after the gameplay test. We
Okay.
need to give it to your hands and get the feedback rather than investing right now more time in something that we have not seen. If you ask
Gotcha.
me, can you do another dungeon? Definitely, because I gave it to the plans of the hands of the players, and everybody was enjoying it. So
Right.
there, I'm 100% confident that's a right system to have. But procedural dungeons is a relatively new thing that we are bringing to the MMORPG genre, and this is our biggest risk as a feature.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. Last week we checked one of the rooms and we saw that that specific room was half of World of Warcraft Dead Mines. One room was like half the size of Warcraft Dead Mines, and we were like, this is not a good thing to brag about because we don't want people to go inside and spend like 3 hours in one dungeon, especially or
Right.
on tier zero. Because in our game, you have the tiers, the tier sets, which changes first how much bigger the dungeon becomes, and what are the bosses inside, what are the encounters, and what are the rewards. On
Got it.
top of that, every time when you choose on which direction you go, you need to vote with your buddies, your the people from the party. You are also voting on a dungeon modifier that you need to decide: do we want to make the dungeon harder and increase the rewards, or we want to go the safer route with making the dungeon easier but also reduce the rewards. So
Right.
it's a lot of systems, a lot of things inside that basically shifts completely the experience. And what is cool with that system is a week later, if we decide, we create 5 new rooms that have completely different layout, completely different visual aspects that changes the mood of the dungeon. The moment when we release those, these are 65,000 new combinations because of the amount of the previous rooms. And the moment when you go in the same dungeon, you will experience something different. We can put in 15 more rooms and it changes completely. So in that sense, making the rooms and making the encounters is easy. The hardest part we are in right now to understand what is the exact number of rooms and what is the time frame that you need to spend on the lower levels before we move forward. And after that, if we once we find the right balance, the right formula, we can definitely go for more than one. But for me, currently, the most important question is this one dungeon fun? Because it makes no sense to tell you, hey, we're going to have 5 dungeons. You're like, oh my God, 5 dungeons, but there are 5 boring dungeons, you know?
Right.
Better have one, but fun and engaging. And then, yeah, if we have the time, we'll make more than one
And I'm just curious. So when it
for
comes to
the start of the game.
no, for sure.
Sorry.
When it comes to bosses, like World of Warcraft usually has anywhere between like sometimes 4 bosses in a dungeon, sometimes it can be like 12 bosses in a, and especially the older dungeons. Like this first dungeon you're talking about with the spider, how many bosses are there going to be in this procedural dungeon?
So we separate them by mini bosses. We call them mini
Okay.
bosses, but they're not really a mini bosses. They are full blown bosses.
Okay.
And we call the end boss, the spider queen. This is the one that you always need to go to. Like this is
Gotcha.
the guaranteed boss that you are going to fight.
Right.
But in the other boss rooms, you never know which one you're gonna see right now. So this is where things change a lot.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you go in one room that you previously was there, and you start the event, and it's a treasure room. You just won the lottery. Now ponder the room, get your rewards. Next time you go there, you touch the same thing, and you open up traps, and
Right.
everything goes to.
Yeah. No, I mean, and
and
I love the concept of it. I just think that when it comes to the tuning or like the problem solving of like, hey, variation 981 is crashing people's desktops, but then like, version 14,087 is also doing something weird too. Like, I'm just curious, like how you're either going to balance or fix potential issues within like such a wide variance of like
very
dungeon
cool
instant.
question.
So it's going to be interesting. Like I'm excited for it, but I guess like, has the team ever considered maybe doing both, like a linear dungeon to where it's just, this is the way it always is, it always will be this way, and then we have our procedural dungeons that are more like the mega kind of scope-ish, like always ever
Yeah,
changing. Like, has the team ever thought about doing like both potentially,
of
or?
course. So first, let me cover the very great question that you brought with what happens if specific variant just crushes the game client and would just creates an
Right.
issue.
Just
So
creates an
in
issue.
general, yeah. So in general, we have a knowledge all of the time which seed, we call it a seed. Seed is one variation of the dungeon you have been playing, and when in which specific room you are. So
Okay.
the moment when a crash occurs for you, for example, we can see that it happened on seed 16,202 in room 16, and we can bring back that we can restore back in time in our development purposes tools. We can restore that back in time and go in that exact specific room and replay what you played there, so we can catch the problems happening.
That's awesome.
Of course, hopefully we can catch it, because if it was something like with your specific hardware, it becomes harder and harder.
Oh
But if
yes.
it's like everybody is reporting that,
Right.
then it's obviously we can reproduce it and catch it. And then on the next question, which you said, do you guys think about any linear progression? This is what we want to do with our rates. Linear progression that is always the same. We want to
Gotcha.
keep that for the rates, but we also want to use the rates to tell a story. We
Okay.
want you to go and engage with that raid, knowing who is the boss, why are you fighting against that enemy. So this is where the linear progression is, and this is how we want to basically separate dungeons from raids. We don't want the raid to just feel like a bigger dungeon.
Okay. So you want the raids to feel more cinematic, like towards the story, and more thematic towards
Yeah.
like the campaign that you've been doing as you're leveling and developing the story of Scars of Honor. So,
Yes.
there's like different, like, especially coming from like, I've been a raider in WoW since like, what was it? Karazhan, basically. So like, I know raids. Like, so are y'all's raids ambitions to have like 8 to 10 bosses for them to be kind of like sprawling in the sense of like them feeling like a bigger, grander version of a dungeon, even though it is linear, it's going to never change or anything like that. Is that kind of like what y'all are thinking as far as like raid design goes?
To be honest, the biggest inspiration for our raids is also World of Warcraft. There we want to
Mm,
apply some differences, which I will keep like secret for now.
okay.
But yeah, I think we should definitely make sure that the raid does not feel like a scaled up dungeon and just call it a raid. And this is the most important part for us right now.
So you're kind of thinking like maybe 10, 20, 40 man like potential raids, or y'all are probably still figuring out the balance tuning of
Numbers
um
are always the hardest to answer
right.
right now, because it's very subjective, and we can feel like it's good to have that amount, but when you give it to the player hands, you understand things from a different angle, and it's very early right now to say an exact number. Definitely, it should be no less than 10. This is what I'm personally convinced, and I see others from the team sharing the same
Right.
idea, the game design director as well. So this is definitely what we're gonna try.
Mhm.
and we definitely want to make you feel like you're in something bigger than the dungeon in terms of also group size.
Okay. Well, I do want to kind of shift a little more to now PvP. So this, I'm primarily a PvEer, okay? But since I followed Ashes of Creation, I've been dipping my toes into PvP and doing the whole PvP thing. So in Scars of Honor, there's going to be PvE servers and PvP servers. Is that correct?
To be honest, we don't call it a PvP server. We don't separate them. We don't
Okay.
separate them because we believe these two are a essential part from the same game.
Okay.
While being in that realm, we can allow you to opt out of the PvP so that while you're leveling up, you don't hear the bad sounds of the rogue behind you and you know
Right.
what is happening.
So it's sort of like war mode, kind of like in World of Warcraft
Kind
now.
of like war mode, yeah. Which, if you don't like it, just don't participate it, but be there in a more like populated world, more engaging world, rather
Okay.
than just separate the groups where
Is there
while it's not needed.
is there going to be any incentive for me to toggle on PvP? Is there going to be any kind of like bonuses to experience or like any kind of enticements as to like, well, I'll just turn it off and not having to deal with PvP, and that's kind of my reward? Or is there going to be any kind of like modifiers or bonuses to turn on PvP for players, just to have that
So
incentivization?
in general, we have not yet thought of applying any bonuses for those who participate in PvP because this is also like downsizing the effect on the ones that are not enjoying, and it creates like a bad feeling in those who just want to chill out and level up, but don't want to feel like I am behind because I'm not participating in this. So in
Okay.
that terms, in that sense, I don't think we should do this, especially at the beginning, because it's too risky to
Okay.
get people into the PvP which are actually not willing to PvP but are just doing it because of the, let's say, higher experience.
And I'm guessing you're going to be able to toggle on this war mode, at major cities, like not anywhere, right? I'm assuming you can't just
Yeah, yeah.
toggle it on and off whenever you want. That'd be terrible.
It destroys the purpose. It destroys the purpose.
And so I do want to talk about factions, right? And
Okay.
I am very leery on factions. Now, again, I'm a Horde person, Loktar Ogar. Like I love Horde. I've been a Horde player my entire life. But do you think factions can work in 2026? Right now, recently in retail WoW, they've actually been unthreading the entire faction thing. Like now you can be in a guild with both Horde and Alliance. There's things now that, especially when it comes to grouping, right? For the longest time, if you were going into an instance dungeon,
Mhm.
you could only be with your people, like with the Horde. You can't, so you're basically kind of splitting this player base, like, arbitrarily, based off of like your faction. And, I think people want to play together. People want to do activities together. Yes, we all know that there's like a feud, so to speak, and there's like a storyline that may go with it. But do you think it's going to be like a good thing for Scars of Honor to be a faction based game?
So there is very different angles which you can take on this question. One, first, I don't think the latest World of Warcraft is the same which it used to be back then.
No,
I think it's
it's
a
not.
completely different game. Uh,
It is.
and if you ask me which version you like more, like which would be the version where Scars of Honor is closer, I would definitely say old World of Warcraft. I think we are sharing more common vision with what World of Warcraft used to be compared to what is it now. Now it's more accessible. Now it is like more modern, if you will. I completely get that part, but I also believe it shifted its focus, like its target group, if you will. So I believe the conflict that brings two faction system between those two, the competition between those two is essential part. And I think we as human beings, we always, most of us like to compete. We always want to say we are the better ones, we are the better ones, and this is
It's true.
spiking an energy that I think currently a lot of MMORPGs are just not how to say it most politically correct, not evaluating it the way it should be evaluated. And I think we definitely can make factions work in 2026. If you guys create your communities, your guilds in general, this is something that is also um, important, because before doing this, especially if you're going there with your buddies, etc., it is how we used to make it back in the day. It was like negotiations. Hey, you're not going to play Blood Elf, you will be playing this because five of us are there, and you see that how that guy comes and he becomes part of the alliance. And that was also a for me personally, it was a treasurable moment. I understand that yes, it creates an artificial restriction, but that restriction is also giving something that, if it's not there, you won't have. Like the sense of competition, the sense of your true belonging to the factions, to the core values of that faction, to the principles of the faction, and they will be just taken away if we say doesn't matter.
No, for sure.
And this is also why we want to make sure that every single race also feel different and brings value that makes that specific race better in that specific thing than the other one. Because it's
Right.
so easy to say everyone is equal, everyone can play with everyone, and everyone is the same when it comes to race. That's the easiest thing for us as developers. But this takes away the sense of belonging to something higher cause and a team. And it's also taking away the ability from the player to choose a specific race which he or she recognizes uh, himself with that specific race. Because for example, I like how the Gront are like unapologetic, they are just taking whatever they want. They are people who just grab the wife by the tusks, for example. Or the Baron, who is like really strong race that defends the weak, that will make that will give his life in order to save someone. So we want to make sure that these races as well will give you something that you guys can recognize. Like
Yeah.
every single race needs to strike to a specific group of people
Yeah.
and find a similar values. So identity and team recognition is important, and that's why I believe factions in 2026 can work. They used to work previously, so if they worked previously, why not again? Right?
Because I feel like there's been a shifting. Like that's why I'm like curious. Like, I mean, I think it can work, but stuff
Mhm.
has changed. Like we're definitely not in 2004 anymore. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I would just be curious. Like I think again, I think I'm not a hater towards retail WoW. There's a lot of things I don't like about retail WoW, but there are things I do. I think the class
Mhm.
design when it comes to retail WoW is far superior than the classic version of talent trees, where it's like you basically put 5 points into a talent that says like increase your attack power by 1%. You know, it's like very like basic stuff like that, right? I think
Mhm.
I think the current talent trees actually augment abilities and your class in a very more impactful and in just a more fun way, in my opinion. But there's also a lot of things that come with retail that I just don't agree with. I do want to mention something from PvP though, because in the kind of PvP servers in WoW, I hate open world PvP in World of Warcraft. I think it's garbage. And the reasoning why is because a feral druid or a rogue can kill me and then go to the graveyard and spawn camp me for hours if they wanted to. There's no punishment for a person
Mhm.
just getting ganked like over and over and over again. You know, like if I'm a level 30 and someone's like a level 50 in your game and just constantly just doing that, like, are there going to be any kind of like, you know, like, is there any kind of like, things to prevent players from like doing anything like that, from like ganking someone endlessly? Or is there going to be just potentially like, hey, I spawned in this graveyard because it's the closest one to my body, but is there going to be anything that maybe can send my body somewhere else, or like, you know, with like not a penalty towards me? Because I feel like it's most
Mhm.
of the time the person that dies ends up getting punished and not the person who's repeatedly killing me like all the time. So I'm just curious with you on the and then that terms of like open world PvP.
That's very easily solvable. I think we also covered it somewhere in the beginning. Uh, it is the ability for you to just say, hey, I don't want to opt in that until you feel like you're strong enough to open yourself for that activity. You should not be like participating in it, and therefore nobody can gank you. You cannot attack anyone, but you cannot also be attacked. You can only interact with PvE monsters like
Right.
NPCs and bosses in the open world. I think it's that easy,
No, for
and
sure.
we
But
should allow people to have that decision.
no, for sure. But I'm even talking about like as a PvPer, like if I'm willingly going to the PvP mode and, you know, I'm a level 30, you know, necromancer and I find like a level 50 rogue that's just killing me endlessly. Like,
That's
um,
part of the game. That's
see,
part of the game. You decided to go there and
I,
risk
I,
it all.
I disagree, brother. I disagree. I mean, my
I
whole
don't
thing,
see what we can do in that sense. I don't see
well,
really what we can do.
I feel like it's just a matter of like, you know, spawning at different graveyards. So like, or at least giving the player an option to like go somewhere else. Like, so if I'm dead and there's like a graveyard that I have to go to because it's closest to my body, like
Mhm.
having an option to spawn just somewhere
Like
else,
like
like
go
a,
home.
or I mean,
Go
if there's,
home.
if even if
No.
there's like an option to
Yeah.
be like, I can either spawn here or go to like my main Hearthstone area or something like that. Just something to where it's like I have some way to like get out
Mhm.
of that particular areas or that particular player's area. Just so that way, because I do want to actually try to PvP people, but my level, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's, you know, and again, back in the day, it always was handled by like, hey guys, I'm like messaging my guild here and I'm like, hey guys, there's a level 50 that's like
I'm
ganking me in
saying
this area. Come save me, please. You know what I mean? Or, you know, if I have
yeah.
a max level character, I just log out, log back into my max level character. I mean, that's how we did it back in the day. But I'm just curious
Yeah,
if
it's
you guys,
definitely a solution. Definitely a solution. We can definitely think about something like that. Currently, it's not in the works. It's not in the works. We can definitely think about this when we see if we see that it's happening a lot. In order to do something, we also need to evaluate the development time that we are going to invest, how much will benefit the end user. Because if this is something that is happening like constantly and it's a problem, then it's a major thing. Then it needs to be done now. But
right?
if this is like happening once at 100 of those cases, it goes like ooh, down in the
Yeah, no, for
priority of
sure.
like
For
making.
sure.
But it's like if it's like 95 out of 100, it's like we need to do it today. It's
Right.
a completely different priority. Yeah.
Well, I do
So
want
it's
to go.
definitely doable. Depends how needed it will be.
No, for sure. And I do want to talk about races because, like, you know, there's so many iconic races that I think y'all like are getting from, right? Like, whether it's like, you know, elves, humans, dwarfs, orcs, you know, all this other stuff.
Obvious ones.
Yeah, the very obvious ones, which are great. You know, I love the typical fantasy MMO. That's just my shtick. But you know, when I think of like WoW, especially classic WoW, I hated being pigeonholed into a certain race because it had certain passives or racial abilities, like
Mhm.
the dwarf being one of them. Like as an alliance player, like if you didn't play dwarf priest, you were trolling basically. Like if you didn't have fear ward, what were you doing? You know, so I'm curious, like, are races in Stars of Honor going to have like a racial abilities or any kind of racial passives that are going to like, oh, even though I love the orcs, it's like because I'm going to play a hunter or a ranger, if I don't play like the 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 pig people, then I'm just doing it wrong. You know what I mean? I have to play the pig
The
people in
wrong
order
way.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, like I have to play them instead of, you know, the orc race that I want to be. Like I'm just curious like what y'all's philosophy is when it comes to like custom, like having these races, which are awesome, but like, is there going to be anything attached to them, like any kind of exclusive power, passives, racial abilities, etc.?
This is where me and the game design director are basically having the two opposite
Ah,
opinions of this because I'm like when I'm picking a race, I need to be picking a race not just because of the visual. So this is my valid statement. I need to decide what I'm going to play and the reasons why I'm picking this. While he says I don't want to be picking something because of just this is the best warrior. And if I want to play a warrior, Inferno Demon, for example, I want to be as strong as, for example, Orc warrior. And these are two very contradictive and yet very valid uh, um, things, for example, you can say, I want a vanilla ice cream, I want chocolate ice cream. Are
Yeah.
you wrong? Am I wrong? Like, you like one thing, I like the other. So it's everybody is correct. So in order, when such dilemma comes, I'm always restricting to the most important card that I can like always bring it up. Let's vote. So we just throw it to to the community. We let them vote, and whatever they decide, I will definitely write the question in a way that it will be a little bit my take. Do you guys don't want to be unique as a race, etc.? They will say, no, we want to be unique. You see, they want to be unique.
Well, I mean, I
Jokes
guess.
aside,
Or go,
jokes
go, go,
aside,
go.
but yeah. No, no,
No.
no. Tell me.
So basically, like for me, like I've always like, for me, I always played an orc. Like when I played old school classic WoW, like I always just picked orc. And even though it may not have been the most because even let's just be honest, right? Like a lot of the stuff really was like some stuff was negligible. Like it was like a 1% increase. So it's like, okay, like you'll have a 1% power gain because you picked the right race and I didn't. Like, boohoo, who gives a shit? But I think it's, I like being able to just the race feel like I picked this race because I really enjoy this race, not
Mhm.
because it benefits the class that I also like. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I did see too when it comes to classes that y'all are faction locking certain classes. Is that true?
Yeah, because of war reasons. This is where we don't. The same way how the art director says, look, I cannot allow the player to make monstrosities with like outfit and stuff because this will ruin the aesthetic of the game.
Right.
The same way me and the game design director are saying we cannot allow the people to make monstrosity with like class choices because this will destroy the war and the immersion of the game. So there are some specific lines which we need to say, okay, up to here, this
Mm-hmm.
is the philosophy.
Okay, so there's going to be certain groups of like, so the orcs potentially could only be like a ranger or hunter, and then so if you want to play that, you'll have to pick them. Is that kind of like what you guys are doing?
Yes, there is definitely a set that is given to you cannot be orc and choose from all of the classes. There are specific set of classes available that fits the war of the orc,
Got you.
and that applies for every race.
Yeah, so it's basically kind of like classic WoW, because classic WoW you couldn't,
Very
you
similar.
basically had to
Yes.
pick certain races to be certain
I
classes.
think even in retail right now, it's still you cannot pick one race and play of the classes. I still believe
No,
this
that's
is valid.
true. That's true. They have opened it up a great deal, but it's
Yeah,
still
a
not
lot
able.
more.
Yeah, it's still not able to do everything, at least as currently.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So I guess when it comes to like class design, like in y'all's influence, because we talked about Path of Exile with y'all's talent trees and stuff like that. Like, how massive are these trees gonna be? Like when we actually get our hands on it, like are they going to be like 100 and nodes? Or are they gonna be like 200 nodes? Like, just curious. Like,
You
what?
wanna
What?
hear how much node we have currently for the Paladin?
Tell me.
270. 270 are just for the Paladin, and we are far away from release of the game.
Oh my
And
god.
I had this discussion with Alex, our game design director. Alex, are you sure we are not overdoing ourselves in here? And he's like, no, I can make a new talent in like 3 minutes. So it's not a problem. It's cheap because it's just a configuration. I can make it. It's not a problem. And I'm
Right.
like, are you sure? I like doubting. Like, can we do this for the rest? No, 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 no problem. We can definitely do it. And it's true. I have seen how they just go to today and tomorrow it's like a full list, and I'm like, how this happens? And it's just the system. It's not the most intuitive, and yet they handle it.
So because there's only going to be 50 levels, like that seems like kind of crazy. Like, because I think of the variations that the kind of combinations with
Mhm.
abilities, passives, 50 points out of 270 is kind of crazy. Like, so you're basically not going to have like a tree where it's going to be all filled up, basically, right? So
Yeah.
there's going to be very segmented lines. And I'm curious when it comes
To be
to,
honest, we are not, sorry to interrupt you, we are not yet here set on the amount of points to be like equal to the same amount of levels. So
oh, okay,
we are thinking that specific levels you get more points at that specific level when you reach it. So it's a matter of, yet again, as I
the
said,
tuning.
every time when it comes to number decision, Like the same is like how many talents you're gonna have. It is uh, um, we are in a period where we are experimenting to understand where is the golden place. But we are certain that it should not be one to one with how it is with level so far because of the size of the talent.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be amazing, to be honest with you. Like, I wouldn't mind like if like there was like a couple of one that gave you one talent point, but then two, and then maybe some pinnacle, like you get level 20,
Yeah.
it's like level like 3 talent points. I think that flexibility would be really, really awesome. And how many abilities are y'all planning for classes like on these trees? Like in a relative number, like are you gonna have like 20 abilities, 40 abilities? Like how many abilities do you think you're gonna have per class?
So when we asked that question ourselves, like, "Hey guys, how many abilities you want to put in the game?" We started asking ourselves, "Okay, with how many active abilities I can actually play? Like, with how many
Right,
of them I can have an actual meaningful gameplay?" And
right.
we came to the conclusion that 30, like a full list or half of your screen filled with like icons of spells, it's worthless. Like you cannot use this effectively, and it's a lot of clutter on your UI.
Okay.
So we decided to experiment with 2 bars of spells, which is like around 20-24 spells. This is the in between 20 and 24. This is what we're currently experimenting while we're heavily investing on spell modification. I don't know
Hmm.
if you have paid attention to how the Phoenix strike, the flying Phoenix that destroys at the ground, changes with just a talent points, which becomes a flying in straight light Phoenix who burns the ground below. So it
Right,
completely changes the spell itself. It becomes something different. So
right.
when it
And I
comes
love
to,
that.
but still keeps one spot at your UI.
Yes. Because I am more of a fan of because realistically, rotationally, like you're gonna hit maybe
Mm,
5 or 6 buttons, with your hand or
exactly.
whatever. So like I don't need to have a plethora of abilities, but I love being able to like customize abilities, right? Like to be
Decide
able
what
to
they're gonna do.
yes, exactly. Like being able to like, oh, this is like my bread and butter ability, and I can change it in like 3 or 4 different ways, you know what I mean? Depending on the situation, depending on my own taste, depending on, PvP or PvE, depending on the raid. Like I love that. That's what class
Let
customization is
me
so amazing to
If I
me.
send you something which you can see, is it possible for you to see it without sharing it on the screen just to see your
Oh yeah.
comment?
Yeah.
That might
I
take 20 seconds.
I
Let
don't
me
have to.
send
I
you
don't have to
something.
switch my OBS. I can just. I'll leave it
Okay,
on.
I'm sending it to you.
Okay.
I think it should be here at the chat. So it's a video
Okay.
of one spell from the Paladin, and
All right. Let
let's
me
hear your.
mute. Let me mute the.
I don't think it has an audio. I don't think it has.
Oh, okay. Oh, you named him Warrior. Oh my God. Yes, that's the talent tree. My God, I can't wait to freaking play with that. That's gonna be awesome.
So I obtained a new spell there. You see what it
Okay.
does.
Yeah. Okay. A reticle ability. Oh wow. That's cool. Holy shit. That's really cool. And that's a paladin ability?
Yeah, that's a paladin ability that is not yet finalized when it comes to animation because animation still needs to be polished like the way you cast it. But you
Right.
can see what it does and what it does on the on the place.
Wow. That's and is
So
that
we're
just
really
is that the
proud.
base ability or is that like the passive that changed the
This
ability?
is one new ability that you obtain if you paid attention in the beginning of the
Right.
video. I selected several nodes until I unlocked that one.
Ah, okay.
So it's a new
That's
spell that you unlock from the talent tree. So this is where we took the path of exiled talent trees, but we
mhm.
said, look, we don't want to be just plus five stamina, plus five intellect or whatever. We want to give you new spells, and we want to change how our old spells are working. So it's a lot of choices for you to pick when it comes to the talent tree.
And if you're taking inspiration from Path of Exile, there's like what I call like the mini, the mid, and the large nodes. And the large nodes, especially in Path of Exile, are very transformative. They're almost like set bonuses or like really
Mm.
crazy passives. Is that kind of y'all's philosophy too with y'all's talent tree? Is you're gonna have like little small nodes that give you like little percentage based
Yes.
things or like little things, and there's like bigger nodes that can augment or change an ability, and then there's like a bigger node that's like a kind of like an apex node that really changes like even how you play your class potentially, or like is that how you all are planning to do the talent tree?
So we have three separations of,
Okay.
we call it nodes. Every circle, every choice, we call it a node,
Right.
and we separate them in three ways. First is the root node. You have 6 root nodes that are at the middle of your character.
Okay.
So the moment when you select the root node, this is the unique type that you are selecting. For example, Berserker Warrior, or Warrior with a dagger is on the left side, or all of these. I'm not going to go into details not to spoil the warrior currently, but this applies same for the paladin, and this is the root node. So you can select only one of these 6. These are very major decisions that you do at the beginning. So first there, and then you have the minor nodes. The minor nodes are spenders, where it just gives you more stamina, strength, or whatever you want. Very boring, but increasing power in a way that you want to be increased. And then we have the major nodes. The major nodes are either teaching you new spell or heavily modifying a previous one. And you can go behind it, you can go below it, you can reach one node from many angles. You can go one root node. I can select the upper right root node and rotate and go down and get the same spell that I showed you in the video, while not obtaining the initial root node where it was
Right.
hidden behind.
Dude, that, oh my god, because I Path of Exile has such an amazing customization, and to get that inspiration into your game is like, I can't wait, because I always thought it was impossible to do it in MMO. And with y'all's classes, is every talent tree going to be different to each class?
Yes, every talent tree is different for each class, and on top of that, when you put the scar system, no two paladins will be the same.
I know.
100%.
Oh, you see, can we talk about the scar system real quick? Because like that's the
Yeah,
thing that it's the
it's
brand new thing. It's a brand new thing that,
yes,
and y'all are taking inspiration from. Well, I don't know if you've ever played the private server WoW Ascension, but WoW Ascension has like a
mm,
card system where you
it's
can.
exactly from there, from an ad, which I
Yes,
saw.
bro, it's so good. It's so much
It's so
fun.
good.
It's so
It's
much
so
fun.
good.
So
Exactly. And I was
so
like, this in our game.
so like how is it going to be like, because so now not only are you going to have like the dopamine hit of a talent point
Yeah.
and where you're going to go, like what route you're going
No,
to take.
the golden scar, when it comes, you're like just leveled up, and you're
Oh my
like,
god.
oh my god, what am I going to receive? And you see, boom, boom, and then boom, the big
Yes.
one. You're like, oh my god, I get it,
Right.
and it's a very special moment. And we also think about it in the terms of, think about the streamer who is playing that game,
Oh, I know.
and the audience is watching, and out of nowhere the golden one comes there. See, just you can feel the emotion. You can
Yeah.
right away imagine the picture in the future, how people will be enjoying this, and
Yeah.
definitely you should do it.
Yes. And so with the scar system, is it because it's going to be of course in conjunction with like the talent tree. So not only are you going to get the dopamine hit of like putting in your talent point, but you're also going to get the dopamine hit of the scar system. So is the scar
Yeah.
system predicated off of you leveling, or is the scar system predicated off of you actually completing stuff in the world? Like how does
Both.
one, both?
Both.
So there's going to be
Both.
so there's going to be really cool like stuff you probably want to tackle in the game because it gives you like a like a scar point or something like that, like a scar.
Let me go deep in this, because it's a
Okay,
very important, it connects
do it.
to something else. As I said in the beginning, we really want to try to connect all of these systems and give them a meaning why they exist in the game.
Okay.
When we started the conversation, I told you that questing, I don't like it as a system that much, because in general, I think not much more can be innovated there to make it as fun as possible system. We tried our best. We think it's gonna be more fun than the rest, but that's the limit, at least how we see it currently. But then, what else can we do so that we make the leveling journey interesting?
Yeah.
And it very well connects with the scar system as well, because we don't want to also say, hey, complete RNG on the scar system, whatever is your luck, that's it. We also want to make sure that you, as a mage or warrior or paladin, can say, hey, I want this, and we can tell you how to get it. So what are we doing here? In the open world, there will be specific, we call it elites, like Hogar in World of Warcraft.
Yes.
The moment when you go there, these elites will have several purposes. First of all, we will introduce you to the first elite of the game that we want you as a mage to fight with. The elite for you will be one. The elite for the warrior and the paladin will be completely different, and they will have completely different play style against you. So first of all, they will try to beat the shit out of you, to make you like destroy you as much as possible, and to teach you to use your spells.
Gotcha.
Like for example, when you go to the mage, the enemy that is against you will teach you to use your blink to get away from very fast from the danger. The moment when you destroy that elite, you will receive a specific scar from that battle, and that one is certain that you know 100% you're gonna get. The leveling on the other hand is a very important a milestone which we want to make you excited about. Like I'm on a 95%, I'm just leveling up, guys. Hold breath, let's hope for the best. You see boom, 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 the random one appearing in front of you. So this is where like your work will help. And this is also what will definitely make sure that even if you twice level up a paladin, they'll be two different. And it will create a specific connection for you with that specific paladin. You know, hey, this is my, for example, um, heavy two sword or heavy two hand hammer paladin, because here it is just how this character was born.
Right.
It is how in the world, me and you, for example, you can be very artistic, for example, and you can be definitely better than me. I cannot have all of the traits. I'm on the other side, I'm a programmer, I'm better, let's say, with logic and mathematics. We're different, but we're both human, right? So
Right.
we also want to have that thing in a sense that is not breaking the game in the game. And
Okay.
scars are very deep system, which I think it's a little bit overlooked because it has not been shown anywhere else, and MMORPG fans cannot recognize it yet. And I think you guys will be surprised the moment when it comes at your hands, and you will start to look at it in a that's a new thing.
Yes. I mean, I've experienced it with like, having the right abilities, like, in Ascension, and that's always like a really cool moment. And there's also like rarities to it, like you were talking about with the
Yeah.
golden one. So like, is there going to be like common, uncommon, rare,
Yes.
epic,
And
gold,
legendary.
and golden legendary? Okay. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So and it's gonna be completely random, right? That you're not gonna have any predication. So even leveling like
It's a group.
it's a what?
It's a group of scars for your class at
Right.
level 5 or specific level that the moment when they will appear,
Okay.
we are putting there a list of all the scars that will appear for the ranger, for the mage, separately, and out of this group, whatever is your work, you will receive it. Of course, you can later reroll and try your work again.
Ah, okay. So there's gonna be like a way to like turn one in to
A
like
reroll, yeah.
try another. Oh, okay, that's cool,
Yeah.
man. Well, I don't really have any more. I thought we're already at an hour and 20 minutes, so I don't really have any more questions.
We
But
can continue up to 3. It's
yeah,
a pleasure.
no, dude, honestly, like I really thank you so much for coming and talking to me. Like I joined the Discord yesterday, and they already gave me the CC thing today. So I was like, I'm gonna probably start making content with Roar. We've been kind of hammering out me, him, Richie, some other content creators. We're just kind of seeing like what kind of content we're gonna be doing. So for people that are excited for Scars of Honor, where do they have to go? Like, where do they go to follow updates, to follow the game? Like, where do people go?
So definitely visit scarsofhonor.com as a website to understand the game, to see if that game is for you. One other thing that you can definitely do is join the awesome community at Discord. And if you are up to the idea of receiving more and more news for the game itself, definitely check out my Twitch. I'm streaming relatively every Sunday. So you guys, if you want to join and have a discussion there, I do a lot of polls where I'm just taking feedback from the players. I am really believer of an open development where we can have the feedback as fast as possible. Definitely join there, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome conversation, guys. go follow Scars of Honor. Like I said, go to the website, go to the Discord, check it out. If you love World of Warcraft, even if you don't like World of Warcraft, like I feel like if you're just a lover of the old school MMO genre, this is a project to at least keep your eye on. Just like even watch from afar. I mean, this is going to be, like you said, it's going to be a free to play game, no pay to win, no pay to convenience,
Nothing to lose.
nothing to lose. Guys, I'll see you on the next one. Thank y'all so much.